Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special battlefield report. For 2 full months, Ukrainian forces have been penetrating Kursk deep within Russian territory. This isn't just a battle, it's an epic offensive destined to be etched in the annals of history. In just 7 days, Ukrainian spearheads sliced through 2,000 square kilometers of Russian land. What astonishing secrets fueled these lightning-fast victories? This week, videos from the 82nd Brigade lifted the veil on the brilliance behind this triumph. The 82nd Air Assault Brigade is the backbone of Ukraine's mobile forces. Back in the Kharkiv counteroffensive of autumn 2022, they showcased incredible strength. In the Kupiansk direction, they penetrated 40 kilometers behind enemy lines in just 24 hours, securing victory in that campaign. Once again, this brigade takes center stage in the Battle of Kursk. In late June, a game-changing secret meeting quietly took place at Ukraine's highest military command. Supreme Commander Syrskyi personally summoned Brigadier Voloshin of the 82nd and Brigadier Ishchukov of the 80th. They were entrusted with a sacred mission to save the nation. The confidentiality of this task rivaled nuclear launch codes. Even the warriors about to step onto the battlefield only learned of their historic role 12 hours before action. Colonel Kursk, chief of staff of the 82nd, recalled those thrilling days. Only the brigade staff knew the plan. To everyone else, those days were just ordinary special training. But in reality, we were brewing a storm that could change the entire course of the war. For this historic operation, Ukrainian forces conducted grueling training deep in the forests. Every participant threw themselves wholeheartedly into the rigorous drills at Training Center 199. Emerging from this forge of heroes, all soldiers donned brand new gear. The battalion's chief of staff described how they silently crossed the border into Russia. We avoided all settlements. Large equipment moved only at night, never more than 2 hours at a time. When the battle commenced, the progress was so smooth that even Brigade Commander Voloshin was left speechless. Ukrainian firepower was unstoppable. Russian border troops, never having seen such a display, quickly raised white flags. A proud artillery commander said, "In the first few days, our guns fired nonstop, day and night. The Russians were powerless to fight back." Another added, "Flawlessly covered the assault troops. Russian Ka-52 helicopters were shot down before they could react." The operation was nearly flawless, though not without minor hiccups. Initial challenges came from communications. Without Starlink and with our assault speed astonishingly fast, frontline units briefly found themselves in an information blackout. But our radio teams quickly turned the tide, swiftly setting up relay stations to ensure seamless command. The medical and logistics teams performed superbly. The 82nd's chief medic stated most of the medicines and plasma we prepared remained untouched in their boxes. This wasn't just a logistical victory, it was the best testament to the precision of the entire operation. The 82nd Brigade also shouldered another arduous task, teaming up with the 225th Battalion to blockade Russian positions east and southeast of Kharkiv. This mission was expected to be a protracted battle, but Ukrainian forces achieved complete victory in just 3 days. Though the soldiers were eager to press on to Kursk, higher-ups ordered halt, reining in these eager warriors. After all, the fruits of victory were firmly in hand. So, how is the Kursk battlefield 2 months later? Today, Kursk is a scene of blood and fire. Russian forces are launching frenzied attacks on the western, northern, and eastern fronts, especially in the southern part of the western line, trying to carve out a breach in Ukrainian defenses. Indeed, the Russian army has made hard-won progress in the southern part of the western line, but on the northern and eastern fronts, Ukrainian elite units stands firm. There's been no territorial exchange, though battles rage intensely. The Russians continue to rely on Su-34 fighter bombers to drop glide bombs, but Ukrainians aren't sitting idle. They're destroying Russian reconnaissance drones to undermine the enemy's tactical edge. In the past 7 days, Ukrainian forces in the Kursk theater hunted down over 40 Russian drones, permanently blinding the enemy's eyes. In the northern sector, they've downed more than 20. Ukraine is waging a mobile war in Kursk, completely different from the trench warfare back home. There are no fixed positions here. Ukrainian forces move swiftly, making it hard for Russian intelligence to lock onto targets. As a result, the Russian glide bomb offensive has hit a snag. The western and northern fronts in Kursk differ starkly due to the quality of defending troops. On the northern front are Ukrainian units have spearheaded into Kursk, while the southern part of the western line is held mainly by territorial defense brigades, disadvantaged in equipment and combat capability. This disparity has allowed Russians to make more progress in the south. Overall, Ukrainian forces are performing admirably in Kursk. Just 20,000 troops against 90,000 Russian soldiers. The brutality of war peaked in Volchansk. This week, the Russian attack on the aggregate plant was a costly disaster. They deployed 3 tanks, 17 MD armored vehicles, and over 100 light VEF airborne troops. The result? 16 armored vehicles destroyed, only 1 barely escaped. Surviving infantry became drone prey. In open terrain, with nowhere to hide, they were picked off one by one. In Siversk, Russians traded flesh and blood for negligible gains. Their advance from Pishchain to Andreevka cost countless lives. This isn't tactical success, it's human tragedy. Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade is performing awe-inspiring feats. They destroyed a massive mortar capable of firing 240mm shells and took out a valuable Buk M2 defense system near Svatov. A 12-minute video documents their daily grind, rotating under fire, bandaging a comrade's mangled leg, unleashing mortar and recoil fire on enemy positions, all while dodging artillery drone attacks. This is their life every moment, a dance with death. In Bakhmut, warfare technology has reached terrifying new heights. Ukraine's 30th Brigade showcased the devastating power of the Dragon drone. So with temperatures reaching 2,000 degrees Celsius, it can burn vegetation and even melt tanks. Touretsk resembles an apocalyptic scene. Russian forces pushed into the town center, occupying the coal mine to the south. Every street corner might hide a sniper. Ukrainian forces abandoned room-to-room clearing, opting to level entire buildings instead. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russia's Iron Fist presses on, now making gains in Solidova. They've captured a meticulously designed underground bunker, but this victory might become their tomb. Ukrainian precision-guided weapons have these locations marked, ready to deliver a fatal blow. Learn from past mistakes, Russians moved several elite unit command posts into the Avdiivka concrete plant. Ukraine struck 3 Russian brigade level command posts. They're using Storm Shadow SCLP missiles and GMLRS guided rockets. Ukrainian artillery and other units joined the assault. Those inside the brigade commander, chief of staff, operations officers likely didn't make it. That brigade is out of the fight. This shows that just a few precise strikes can cripple enemy command centers. Russian fortresses could become their graves at any moment. In this deadly game of chess, Ukraine is already eyeing checkmate. Putin's 660,000 cannon fodder lost. The Russia's military operation in Ukraine has entered its 3rd winter, yet the Kremlin remains lost in strategic fantasies. Latest intelligence shows September 2024 became the deadliest month ever for Russian forces, with average of 1,271 soldiers killed or wounded each day. Behind this staggering number lies the enormous price Putin pays for a special military operation. But Russia's troubles extend far beyond the heavy battlefield losses. Swedish economist Anders Aslin reveals a harsher reality. Russia is sinking into a strategic quagmire with consequences more severe than the world realizes. Since the illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014, Russia's economy has grown at an annual rate of just 1%. The Western sanctions have been far more effective than anticipated, excluding Russia from the global economic system. And the only sector growing is the military and related infrastructure. Other sectors stagnate. Worse, Russia is now experiencing covert inflation reminiscent of the final days of the Soviet Union. Financially, Russia teeters on the edge. With nearly half its foreign reserves frozen by the West, the Russian central bank's reserves are expected to deplete next year. This means losing the last line of defense for economic stability. Ukrainian intelligence intercepted documents revealing a startling fact. The Kremlin might seek peace by the end of 2025 for economic reasons. This suggests internal acknowledgement that continuing the war could be catastrophic. Now, meanwhile, Putin's administration tries to mask the war-induced demographic disaster by suspending key parts of the national census, but truth can't stay hidden. Every Russian mother who loses a son stands as a powerful indictment of this senseless war. Adding insult to injury, as Russian casualties peak, Putin signs a new conscription order, pushing 133,000 young men to the front. It brings to mind that poignant Russian proverb, "The war won't end until the last mother stops crying." Tactically, Russian human wave assaults have yielded minor gains in Vuhledar, but at immense cost. Strategically, Russia's plight is graver. International sanctions, economic recession, brain drain all push this once superpower to the brink. Ukrainian Lieutenant General Budanov might be right. For Putin, the longer this war drags on, the worse it gets. Time isn't on Russia's side. With sustained Western support for Ukraine, Russia's blitzkrieg has become a protracted quagmire. Regardless of the war's outcome, Russia seems destined to be the biggest loser in this tragedy. That's all for today's special report. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to stay updated with our coverage. And remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.